Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the show. Hope you guys are having a good day wherever you are. And I wanted to welcome you to another episode in our Audible tutorial series. And today, in episode 5, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to build out the final login page of our login component. So pretty exciting stuff here. And let's get started on exactly what the application looks like right now and then what it needs to become. So on the simulator here is the current application, and as I slide over to the very last page of the screen, or the last page of the component, we get an awesome blank screen. So that is where our login cell needs to be. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like right here. So here's our completed application, right? And the login cell looks like this, containing an image view, a button, and then 2 text fields in the middle. And as I tap on one of these text fields, you'll notice that the keyboard slides up, and then the components in the login cell actually slide up with the keyboard. And as I slide over back to the regular walkthrough pages, the keyboard slides down, and then the components actually slide down a little bit, kind of with an animation with the keyboard. So that about kind of sums it up for what we will be implementing today. So let's get started with some of the coding that we're going to be doing inside of Xcode 8 Swift 3. So hopefully you guys have been familiarized with Swift 3 by now. We're definitely not going to be coding in Swift 2.3 anymore. Anyhow, the application right now looks like this, blank screen, just like before. And the first thing to implement is the actual login cell right here. And this login cell will be this new file called Logon Cell. Pretty fitting for what it is. And Logon Cell, we're just going to create it programmatically like this. Class, Logon Cell. Let's see. Superclasses, UICollectionViewCell. And then you actually need to call init frame and super init frame, and just call with the frame property, overriding this initializer right here. So nothing too bad. You also have to get rid of this annoying compiler error, and you should be okay. So the first thing you need to do is to actually prove it to yourself that this cell is actually being rendered inside of the collection view. And the way I do it typically is to just set a background color to a solid green or a solid whatever color is your favorite color. And the way to show this login cell now is to go back to view controller, go to register cells. Instead of this collection view cell, let's use this login cell. And remember, this last page right here is actually rendering this collection cell, or this login cell with this ID. So if we scroll over, obviously the last page, as I can just prove to myself and you guys as well, is this green color, which means our login cell is being rendered correctly, and hence I can just remove that green color. Okay, and now is the fun part of rendering out these views programmatically in code. I know some of you guys don't really enjoy laying out things in code, but here we go. And I'm going to do this rather quickly, and let's see how fast I can do this. So first, I want to lay out this Audible logo inside of this cell at the very top here, and we'll create logo image view, UI image view, and let's just create this fast here. Let's see how fast I can do this, UI image named, and I'm going to drag in this logo icon right after I finish typing out this UI image view, image, return image view, like that. And down here, I am going to first open up my assets catalog, drag in this logo. It looks like that, nothing too special. Go back to the login cell. Now that I have my view, let's add it into the cell with add subview of logo image view. Now I need to anchor this image view somewhere in this cell. And I'm going to show you guys how to just call this anchor method and fill out these parameters right here. So the first parameter is this top guy, and top is going to use center Y anchor. So the top of this will be at the center here. And I'm going to offset it up to the top in just a bit. And the left anchor, you notice how it is not really pinned to a left. I'm going to say nil for left, nil for bottom, and nil for right. So let me just remove the file explorer for now. Give myself a little bit more space to work with. And let's see. What is top constant? So like I was saying before, I'm going to offset it by -200, bringing it up just like that. Left constant is 0, bottom 0, right is 0. And let's just use a value of 160 for width and 160 for height. I think I need to use this underscore guy right there just to get rid of the little warning guy. So if I remove that, you'll see this warning pop up. And it's saying I need to do something with the return value. I think this is new to Swift 3. Anyhow, the application is up, and if I swipe to the Logon Cell, you get the logo right here, which is not exactly centered. So let's go ahead and say logo image view center X anchor, which is that. Constrain to, let's see, this right here, center X anchor. And let's say is active equals true. That'll bring the X value directly in the center of our cell. And Swift 3 syntax, this is now called is active instead of just active, which follows what a lot of languages now call Boolean values with this is syntax. So anyhow, the logo image view is now perfectly centered in the middle, which means I am now ready to put in this email field and the password field. So let's see if I can type this out really fast. UITextField for the email, let text field, UITextField, and let's just do this, return this text field guy here. And text field, let's see, let's put a placeholder text of enter email, and then I think we should be okay. So what is this guy complaining about here? Let's see, this actually needs to be an equal. That's what happens when I type too quickly. And now we have our component. Error goes away after I build. Add subview of email text field at the very bottom here. I'm going to call email text field anchor again. And the top of this is actually at the bottom of the image view. So let's use logo image view dot bottom. And the left anchor will be the entire cell's left anchor, just like that. Bottom will be nil. Right will be the entire cell's right anchor, like this. And the top constant, maybe I'll specify 8 to put it 8 pixels below the image view. Let's see how that looks like. Left will be 32. So this is roughly 32 right there. The bottom constant 0. Right is 32 right there. And then the width will be 0 because the entire cell will capture the width for us, and the height, I like using 50 for my text field. So let's just get rid of that warning that popped up right there. So with this anchoring method, you can place your components rather quickly onto the screen. This is how I do things programmatically. And there you go. You'll notice that this is kind of showing up right underneath the image view. But where is the border, like this guy right here? So one way to create the border is to just say text field dot layer, see border color equals perhaps light gray. I think that would work. Does that work? I think we need CG color. Is that? No? Let's see. Does that work? CG color maybe? I can't really get the new Swift syntax. So I guess you need the UI color here in this case. And we can say text field dot layer dot border width equals 1. So with this, with these two lines, the text field will now have a border wrapped right around the placeholder text. So bam, bam, and we get this right here. So I'll fix the spacing on the left in just a little bit. But first, I want to place the rest of these components onto the screen. And you'll notice that email text field should really have a keyboard type of email address like that. And now I'm ready to just do some copying and pasting here. Rename this the password text field, enter password, let's see, gray, and I don't think this needs a keyboard type. We'll just say is secure text entry for these masked dots, and we'll say a value of true. And what this means is we are now ready to anchor our password text field, anchor. And this is going to be quite similar to all of this. So let me just paste all that anchoring here. And I'm going to, for the top anchor, it's going to be pinned. So basically this password will be right underneath the email text field. So that's why the top is actually the bottom anchor of the email text field. And the constant, I can specify something a little larger, like 16. And what this means is it'll be 16 pixels, pixels perhaps, underneath the email field. So let's see. It is crashing because I have yet to add in the password text field as a child of the cell. And you guys have to kind of be careful about that whenever you are playing with these anchors. And here we go. That's what the password looks like. So not too bad. Let's get rid of this with the underscore guy. And what else is left? The last component is this login button, which we will create right here. Let login button be of type UI button. Let button equals UI button, and we'll use type system. Return this button here. And there we go. What else do we need? We need a button.background color. Let's just use, do we have orange? Is that a color? No, that's not a color. No, that is a color. So let's just pull orange right here. Let's see, button.setTitle, and we'll say log in, and we'll use a state of normal. I believe we have to set the title color. Let's see, white, does that work? Normal. And all right, so a lot less to type in Swift 3. Definitely something I do like. And let's just add subview of login button here. What is this? So instead of typing all that good stuff out, let's just use a login button, and then we will pin it to the password text field. So basically that just anchors it below the password for the login button. So that is what you get. So not too bad. I was able to code that up pretty quickly, and it's definitely helpful to have done it already before I hit the record button. And here we go. How do we fix some of these issues right here? So what is the first issue that we want to tackle? Well, I kind of want to bring this up a little bit. I know it doesn't really matter so much, but the logo right here, let's just bring it up perhaps 20, 30 pixels. And let's just see what 230 does. I'm just doing this just to show you how easy it is to place components onto the page and modify its placement with these constants right here. Okay, and what do we want to fix here first? So first thing I want to do is to fix this text field here. And you'll notice that the padding right here really needs to be a couple of pixels to the right. So we need to provide left padding for this text field. And I don't really know an easy way of doing this other than to subclass an entire text field so that we can provide better spacing. And here's how I would actually do it, by going down here and creating a new class called, I'm just going to say left padded text field so that you guys can understand what it's doing. And subclass UITextField. So you need to say text rect, override this guy, and let's just get some more space down here. And you also need to override editing rect to actually get this working. And what do we need to provide here? We just need to say return CG rect of X value here. And I am going to say bounds origin.x plus 10. So that'll give me X plus 10, which is what the spacing needs to be. Y value is bounds.origin, c.y, bounds.width, and then let's see, bounds.height. I think we need to add this 10 value to the width. And I'm not going to explain too much as to why this works, but you just need that same rect for both of these guys, and you can add the spacing of 10 to represent whatever padding you need on the left. That's what this class is in a nutshell. And now that I have left padded text field, I can just go back up, replace this, and this for all my text fields in my Logon Cell. And let's just see what this renders out as my last page on my login component. So did this render? I'm going to kill it and run the application again, and hopefully I'll get something. So one thing that I noticed about Swift 3 is that the simulator, you sometimes need to kill it off, and then you need to bring it back to life. And that's what you need to do with Xcode 8. And sometimes the simulator takes a little bit longer to come back from the dead here. And when it does, the application should run like you would expect it to. So I'm gonna hit the run button one more time, and hopefully the simulator will come back and behave nicely. Okay, so the text field right here is rendering out nicely with the 10 padding. You can modify the 10 down here to be whatever you want to get the spacing right if you don't like this spacing. Okay, so that's the first fix. And the second thing I want to do is to bring the keyboard back up, and there we go. I want to, let's see, what should we do here? I guess we can dismiss the keyboard every time we try to scroll the collection view. And to do that, we will go back to the view controller here, and we'll override a method. Let's just see right here. So right above scroll view will end dragging. We'll say scroll view did scroll. I will say view end editing of true. So what this means in plain old English is that whenever you scroll the collection view, which is this scroll view here, we'll just end the editing, which will dismiss the keyboard. And let's see right here, the keyboard shows up, scroll, and the keyboard goes away. The next issue is to actually stop the keyboard from hiding the login button right here. So typically, if the phone is a little bit too small, you can't see the components, you need to modify the view so that the keyboard kind of pushes up the components so that it's visible on the screen. Now, I'm not going to go through too much math on pushing this login view or login button up, so I'm just going to push it up by a constant value. Anyways, I'm going to show you exactly what to do here. And let me go into view.load, right? And view.load, I'm going to call this new function called observe keyboard notifications. And let me just copy this guy down here. And to create a private function, we say file private. Strange Swift 3 syntax naming. But anyways, we'll create this function down here. And I'm going to say notification center. So we don't need the NS anymore. Call default, add observer, and we'll say add observer of self. Selector will be this keyboard show, and this thing will be NS notification, see, dot name, dot keyboard will show. Here we go, nil. So this is new syntax, how we have to type out this whole thing. Not really sure why they didn't get rid of this NS here. Kind of inconsistent. They got rid of the NS there, but not there. Anyhow, enough of my mini ranting here. Let's say func keyboard show for this selector guy here. And so now, every time the keyboard shows, we will say print keyboard shown, and then we'll execute some code to push up our collection view. So nothing too bad. All of this stuff is pretty basic, and you just have to do it. So go right there. We get our keyboard shown down here. And what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Keyboard show. We actually need to push up our entire view. So the easiest way to just show this is to say UI view animate. Let's see, with the spring damping guy here. Duration of 0.5, delay of 0. Spring damping 1, velocity 1, options of curve, ease out, and animations of something. So completion will be just nil. We don't really care when it completes. And here we go. So what is this animation blocker? What are we supposed to do to move the view or move the components in view? So the easiest way to do this is to say self.view.frame and change the entire view's frame so that it is moving upwards. So to do this very, very crudely is just specify an X value of 0, a Y of negative, let's say 50. I think that would work. And then we can say width is self view frame width and height is self view frame frame height. There we go. And let's see if the actual implementation here works. And the idea is the view will change its frame and scoot itself just a little bit higher if you show the keyboard. And this is pretty crude. Your application will probably need some math to calculate exactly how high or what the delta of the Y value needs to be. 50 works for me because the login button is roughly 50 pixels in height. And now what we need to do is when we scroll this, we actually need to animate all these views down, back down. So you see how you get this little black bar down here. What we finally need to implement is to go back into observe keyboard notifications, and let's just retype this guy out here. Notification center, default, add observer of self, and this selector will now be pound selector, pound the selector here, and then we'll say keyboard hide. And I wonder if this works. UI keyboard will hide and nil. Does that work? That doesn't work. Does it work? Let's see. Let's see if function keyboard hide. Okay. All right. So it turns out we actually don't need these two very unsightly bits of text here. So, all right. The funny thing is that the autocomplete doesn't actually show up. Oh, actually it does. Okay. My mistake. So let's see. Hide. We'll hide. Okay. And here we'll just say, whenever the keyboard is hiding itself, we will animate the entire frame back to the center. So the idea is I'm just going to copy and paste the animation code, save us some time, and bring the Y value back to 0. And it's going to maintain its width and height. X and Y just goes back to the origin, which is this top left corner here. So bam, bam, this comes up, and keyboard scrolls up the view. As I scroll over, everything kind of just scrolls back down. And you notice that the controls for our walk through login component, the skip next and page control, they kind of follow suit as soon as the editing ends and the animation kind of ends as well. So good stuff. This guy doesn't exactly work, huh? So you guys will have to figure out what you want to do whenever you hit this login button. And that is about it for today. All right, congratulations to those of you guys that made it to the end of today's video. Definitely a little longer than I hoped it to be, but if you enjoyed what you learned today, make sure to hit the thumbs up. It really does help me out. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to watch future videos just like this. I think you guys know what to do by now. You can download the project if you want to play with it, look at the code. It's available in the link in below description, blah, blah, blah. And let's see, what else is there? I think that's it for today. Keep on coding, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.